What's up, guys? This is Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our Week 8 team builder for the NCL, or the Mombasa City League. This week we are taking on my good buddy Jed and his Adelaide Redrax. Funnily enough, we're actually playing him twice this week. We play him in the Dunsparces and Dragon Knights playoffs and in Week 8 of the NCL. Obviously, one of those matches matters a hell of a lot more than the other one does. Um, yeah, so that's kind of that. Sorry, I'm just filling around with something. Yeah, so let's go over Jed's team. He's got Mega Pidgeot, Zygarde, 50%, Cresselia, Primarina, Salazzle, Cryogonal, Kecleon, Scizor, Serena, Aerodactyl, and Electros. He has priority in Zygarde with Extreme Speed, Kecleon with Sucker Punch, Fake Out, and Shadow Sneak, Cryogonal with Ice Shard, and Scizor with Bullet Punch. He has Hazard Setting in Kecleon with Stealth Rocks and Aerodactyl with Stealth Rocks. He has removal in Mega Pidgeot with Defog, Cryogonal with Rapid Spin and Defog, Serena with Rapid Spin, and Aerodactyl with Defog. And he has 3 4x weaknesses, Zygarde to Ice, Salazzle to Ground, and Scizor to Fire. In terms of his team, I could see 9 different Pokemon coming against me. I don't think he brings Cryogonal because Darmanitan and Celesteela kind of just smash that, unless he wants to bring like a Veil Strat or something like that. Something weird like a Manual Hail into Aurora Veil strategy, which I don't know if he would. He's got some setup, but not the best setup to abuse that. Um, it helps with Cresselia, I'm not sure. But yeah, I don't see Cryogonal coming, and I don't necessarily see Kecleon coming. I think both of them could come. If he brings Cryogonal, it's better for me. If he brings Kecleon, I don't know. Kecleon can do a lot of things. Could be a Z user, because obviously anything could be a Z holder in this game, in this league. Mega Pidgeot kind of steamrolls through the team that I drafted, so I think that's coming. I think Zygarde comes because it's such a huge threat to my team, and I don't have the best ways of dealing with it because I don't have an Ice Pokemon. Excuse me. Salazzle, I think, comes to deal with Celesteela a little bit. I'm not sure if that's his best way to deal with Celesteela. I don't know. Scizor could come. I think Scizor I'm maybe a little bit on the fence about, although I do think that Bullet Punch is super good against my team. Cresselia, I think, is coming. I can't really deal with it too well. I have Phasing in Donphan and Hydra, and I think that's it. So we'll see about that. Serena, I think, would come. I have a reasonable grass weakness, you could say. I'm kind of like mixed on grass. Electros is another maybe. I don't know if he would bring Electros, although I think it's got a pretty decent matchup against my team. And Aerodactyl is his kill leader, and I think he would bring it because he's been using it really well, and it outspeeds everything bar Mega Beedrill, and Mega Beedrill can't really touch it back because it resists bug and poison. Anyways, let's maybe get into my team then. So we're starting off with Celesteela here. I calced a lot, and we can live a Choice Specs Fire Blast or a Z Fire Blast from the Salazzle with this Occaberry and kill it back all the time with Earthquake. If he's Z or Specs, then obviously he's not sashed, so that's something. But I'm not going to switch this in, but I'm also not going to just give up the fact that I'm not just going to not take the chance, you know what I mean, to get rid of his Focus Sash on Salazzle. I played around with a few Celesteela sets. I had like a Flame Charge speed boosting set. And that didn't work out too well against his team, to be honest, because I just couldn't hit the Zygarde. So we're playing around with this. It's kind of a standard one for the most part. Got Leech Seed on there for some recovery because I really want to live the Fire move from from either Mega Pidgeot Heat Wave or the Salazzle. I have Flamethrower on here to deal with the Scizor and the Serena and the Cryogonal. But now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, maybe Heavy Slam's the play. Because then yeah, you know what? Heavy Slam's the play for sure. Because I can, it still deals with Cryogonal, it deals with Scizor, kind of. It deals with the Pidgeot really well, though. So yeah, Heavy Slam. Earthquake, Heavy Slam, Leech Seed, and Toxic. Toxic is there in case Cresselia wants to come in on me. Ooh, excuse me. We're obviously slower, so if he's sub, that's really fucking bad. But I've got the Leech Seed and the Toxic to sort of wear down the Cresselia. We're down a lot of his team, honestly. He's obviously only got the one Leech Seed immunity in Serena, and that's kind of the plan for Celesteela. We're a Fizzed Up variant, so we can eat up hits from Scizor. We can take on Aerodactyl really well, unless he's like a special variant. Even a Z Thunderfang is not going to do crap. Zygarde, if it's banded, may be a problem. Celesteela's got good natural bulk, but if Zygarde apologize. I just realized we're not on value of HP. There we go. Hello? There we go. If Zygarde 1,000 arrows us, then obviously we're knocked down, so that's kind of bad for us. But that's sort of how we have to play around it. So anyways, that's Celestial. Next up is Stripes, our Beedrill, Mega Beedrill. U-turn, knockoff, poison jab, and toxic spikes. Yeah, he's got some decent switch-ins to my Mega Beedrill, but I can always just U-turn out. Excuse me. I don't know if he would run Rocky Helmet on anything. The mons that I would typically see Rocky Helmet on are like Serena and Cresselia, and they're both weak to U-turn, so I'm not sure about that. I've got knockoff just in case. Toxic Spikes is there because I did not need a 4th move. So if I can get a 1 layer of T-Spike up and he doesn't bring Salazzle to suck him up, then I can get some good poison damage on things like the Zygarde, maybe pop a Lum on that before I can get a Toxic on it or something like that. Good poison damage on the Serena too. He's got quite a few Levitators, but I'd like to have the T-Spikes for the Serena, the Zygarde, the Kecleon, and the Primarina. Everything else is immune or can suck it up in Salazzle, so it's not the while it's not the best, I couldn't think of a good move to put there, and I think Toxic Spikes is a good utility move to fit in. Fell Stinger might have been an option too, but I don't foresee myself ever being in a situation where I can click an adaptability Fell Stinger and it'll gain me anything per se. We're running a lot of attack, max attack, with not a ton of speed, although I do have to be jolly to hit this. We are outrunning the Aerodactyl. With this much speed, we should hit 395 in our Mega form with a ton of HP investment. Now, it's a little bit different than when we played Corona, where we had like almost max HP, because Jed's got some decent speed tiering, so that's kind of where we're at. Next, Phlebotomy or Uxie. Bringing a standard-ish Uxie with the Light Clay, well, standard for TJ. Light Clay with dual screen, Stealth Rock, and Memento. Getting up rocks is really key. He's got a lot of removal options, but I want to break the Sash on the Salazzle, or at least force something to come in and defog. Actually, thinking about it now, that's really bad, because you get rid of my screens. But if we can get Azu set up safely, which you'll see in a sec, then it's not too bad for us. Memento's there for a nice soft switch, especially on anything that can't threaten my Azumarill. Like if I get up screens in the Cresselia and then Memento on it, then Azu comes in and sets up and wins. We're running a bulky set with even defenses. No, this is not even at all, now that I'm looking at this. Not what I was expecting to see. That's a little bit closer to even. Can I get it perfect? Yep, there we go, even stats. I'll have to redo this set myself, but even defenses, so we're mixed bulk with, with a lot of good utility. I might not lead with this because I don't want to just go into Ozzy right away, but if I can Memento on anything worthwhile, then I'm going to kind of just do that. I don't even need the screens necessarily if I Memento, but the screens help. Next up's Azu, our Z Belly Drum mon. I'm bringing the same set that I brought against Magic for the most part, although we're running a little bit of speed on this, so I'm not going to touch on it too much because it's just a regular Z Belly Drum set. But I've got 8 speed on this just because Electros is a speed tie with Azumarill normally, and I wasn't really sure where to put the points, so I put 2 points into speed in case he wants to speed creep over Azumarill by 1, then I would speed creep over that by 1. That's kind of my thought process there. I just need to be faster than the Electros because it actually threatens my Azumarill quite a bit. Serena has to be chipped for this to do a lot of damage. So does Primarina, but for the most part, this set actually steamrolls through most of his team. So that's kind of good. Next up is Darmanitan, our Forceful. Bring a Scarf set. I realize I don't need EQ against his team because he's got so many immunities, and Salazzle dies to a Rock Slide anyways. So I'm bringing Scarf Will-O-Wisp. I'm not sure how much that'll help, but if I can burn the Zygarde or the Scizor or something with a Will-O-Wisp, that'd be pretty good for me. Even the Aerodactyl, something like that. Yeah, we're running max speed on this. It's fairly standard with U-Turn, Flare Blitz, Rock Slide, but yeah, Rock Slide's there for the Mega Pidgeot, the Aerodactyl, obviously, the Salazzle, and that's pretty much it, actually. We can't really hit the Primarina, so that's what I would click on the Primarina if I was clicking a move. Yeah, running max speed to tie with Garf Zygarde. If he brings that, then I'd rather speed tie with it and potentially get off something like that, or force him to lock himself into extreme speed, which is going to do a lot less damage to something like a Celesteela than 1,000 arrows would. General gist of Darmanitan is that he doesn't have the best switch-ins. Primarina is probably his best switch-in. I'm not sure how well it takes a Flare Blitz. It probably takes it pretty well. But outside of that, like, it's Primarina Zygarde are his switch-ins to my Darmanitan. Like, even Salazzle is not taking a Flare Blitz well. This Mon is a monster. Darmanitan is just a straight monster, and it's going to bash his team a little bit. Last but not least is Hydreigon. I'm bringing an interesting set. I brought this against TJ, kind of, as well. We're bringing a Life Orb set with two attacks, Momentum, and Roost to get our HP back. I'm not a huge fan of Life Orb in general, but with Roost we can get the HP back and then we don't have to worry about it. I was considering running Defog in that slot, but I'm not too threatened by Stealth Rocks, and I know that he's got them. I'm also not bringing any Sash users, so I don't care about getting rid of them necessarily. Could come in handy, because we do have 3 U-turners this week, so I might change out Roost now, actually, for Defog, now that I'm thinking about it. I don't really need anything else against this team. The combination of Draco plus Dark Pulse kind of just rips through his team. This is, for the most part, my Cresselia answer, if he's not a Calm Mind variant. And yeah, U-turn is there for good momentum. I can kind of just lead with this, maybe scout for something turn 1. I don't know what he would lead with turn 1, to be honest with you. Maybe like Serena. Darmanitan seems like a good lead to me, honestly, against this team in the first place, but that's sort of my thoughts. We're running max special attack with a lot of speed. This is enough to outspeed the Zygarde and the rest in HP. I've kind of been stumbling over my words a lot in this and not really thinking through what I was talking about, so I'm sorry about that, but that's kind of where it is. I'm really nervous to play Jed twice in the same week, especially because both of the teams that he has are really good, and I think he's got a good matchup against me on paper in our NCL bout. I thought about running Girder, and it just had too many problems against like Mega Pidgeot, Cresselia, and Primarina. Otherwise, Girder was actually really good against his team, but Girder's low Spadef, and it just wasn't good enough this week. Rotom-Mow I thought about bringing, but it doesn't really have a great advantage except against Primarina. And I would anticipate an Assault Vested Primarina just to kind of wall my Hydreigon a little bit. Donphan, I didn't find that useful. It does carry Ice Shard, but it's not powerful enough to deal with the Zygarde unless I'm running like a Banded Adamant set, which actually could be pretty cool. Because Ice Shard can pick off the Zygarde, the Pidgeot, and the Aerodactyl. But I decided against it. He's got too many Earthquake immunities, and I don't really care about spinning away his hazards. Ribombee, again, too many immunities and levitators, so I'm not bringing webs against this team. I don't think it's that helpful to have webs against all of the slow Pokemon. Like, basically, his fastest thing that's not a levitator is Salazzle, which I already outspeed with Beedrill. And I'm going to outspeed with Darmanitan unless he's Scarfed. So I wasn't super concerned about getting webs up because basically his grounded Pokemon are already slow. That's kind of where I was at with that. He's also got a lot of removal options, so I didn't care. And Zygarde's bulky enough to not give a crap about a Moonblast from a Ribombee. We're also going to get smacked by the Scizor, so I did not want to deal with that. Lycanroc Dusk, another Pokemon that could have been really good. I think it threatens the Pidgeot and the Aerodactyl and the Cryogonal quite a bit with things like a Celrock, threatens the Salazzle too. I had an okay matchup. I was really scared of the Scizor with Lycanroc, and I'm scared that the Cresselia can kind of just beat it. I'm also scared about the Zygarde because I can't really touch Zygarde with Lycanroc, so my thoughts were kind of flip-flop, flip-flop, flip-flop on those, but I think I ended up with the 6 that round up the team the best, and yeah, that's kind of enough for me. I've probably talked a little bit too long, and I'll see you guys in the match.